Welcome to Internet Searching Skills. I'm your host, Maureen Penn, Library Director for Lac-La-Biche County Libraries. A lot of you probably already are searching the internet for personal use, maybe for homework. And there's a lot of information on the internet. In fact, the internet, of course, is free to use, so anybody can publish, anyone can amplify a thought. So that means keep that same thought, whether it's true or not, going. Anyone can edit. It is constantly changing. There is no quality control. There's not somebody sitting in a room saying, well, this information is true and this information is false. There is no trash can. So to do an effective search, you need to implement some search strategies. There is subject directories and search engines. So what's the difference and when should you use one as opposed to the other? Search engines and directories are both tools people use to find their information on the web. The difference is in how they get and organize their information. Subject directories are good if you have a broad topic and want to see a list of sites on your topic, often recommended and notated by experts, and when you want to retrieve a list of sites relevant to your topic rather than numerous individual pages contained within these sites. These directories are organized by subject or topic. Search engines are great when you have a narrow or obscure topic or idea to research, looking for a specific website or searching full text of millions of pages. They're also good if you're looking for a large number of documents on your topic, when you want to search for a particular type of document, file type, source location, language, last date modified, etc., and to take advantage of newer retrieval technologies such as concept clustering, ranking by popularity, link ranking, and so on. In search engines, you search for a certain word or phrase, and there are multiple ones you can use, with each search engine being a little different. Search engines use little programs called spiders or bots that scour the internet, follow links, and bring back the information to the search engine's inbox. So one that's used the most is Google. It is effective, it is dependable, it identifies paid sponsors links, it allows for quotation marks. So an example would be you want the words working mothers to stay together. You put a quote around working and a quote around mothers, and it will search and give you results with those terms together. There are easy to use tabs for news and images. Advanced searching and spelling fixes. Keep in mind that your spelling suggestion from Google may not be what you were looking for. You also have the ability to restrict to specific sites and file types. So let's say I wanted something on Windows XP. I know it's an outdated operating system, but I'm doing a history paper on it. I want to make sure that I'm getting information, but only from the Microsoft site. So I'm going to do Windows XP in quotations, and then I'm going to put a space and then site:/Microsoft.com. That tells Google that I want specific information on the Microsoft site about Windows XP. What if I specifically wanted a file type? I'm specifically looking for information on chemical fires, but I want a PowerPoint and wondering if somebody's already created one. I search chemical fires, again in quotes, because I want both words together, and then I'll put space, file type, all one word, so FILETYPE, colon, that's the two dots over each other, PPT. So the PPT actually tells Google I am looking for a PowerPoint. Now, I also mentioned that Google will designate who is paid to be on your search results. This is great to note because sometimes you get information that is swayed to one point of view. And most of the time when you are doing research for homework, you are looking for an unbiased opinion. So it's great to weed those out or use those as a starting block and verify the information on a couple of other sources. Some searching strategies. Become familiar with the topic. Choose search terms. Select subject directory or search engine. Use advanced searching techniques. Limit by language, date, etc. Try and guess possible web addresses. Not sure if you've tried to do that before. Some of the results can be great for your research, while sometimes the responses that you get from a Google search aren't anything but what you're looking for. Boolean operators can come in very handy, and the main ones are and, or, and not. And they're all in uppercase because they're not a word to be searched. They're actually telling Google you want Google to do something specific. You want that search engine to do that operation that you're saying. And if you have more than one operation in play, you can, just like in math, use parentheses to tell which operation should be done first. So and is also known as the plus sign in a lot of search engines. So this retrieves sites that have both search terms, but it does not mean that the terms are together. So the example I have on the screen is global warming in quotes and sea level rise. So that means I want both sets of information, but global warming and sea level rise don't have to be together side by side. The plus is just like the and in uppercase, and it is used in Google and a few other search engines. The next one is or. So this retrieves sites that contain one or both words and used often to connect synonyms. So my example here is greenhouse effect in quotes or global warming in quotes as well. So this is going to give me everything that talks about greenhouse effect together, those two words together, or global warming, those words together. So of course you're going to have more results using the or than you would using the following one, which is not or the minus sign. This retrieves websites that may not contain the word you specified. So maybe you are doing a research paper on Saturn and it's Saturn the planet. Well, you could do Saturn and planet with and or in quotes. You can also do Saturn planet not car to make sure that less entries are going to be irrelevant entries. Because of course Saturn makes automobiles, and you definitely are looking for a planet in the case of your project. Some advanced Boolean operators are near, adjacent, far, and before, and they are all in uppercase as well. So near searches words within 10 to 25 of each other. Example, sheep, near / 10 dip. That tells my search engine that I want sheep, near in capital. So sheep is within 10 words of the word dip. So it might be sheep dip, or it might be sheep garlic dip, or sheep awesome sheep garlic aioli dip. And the list can go on. Adjacent searches for words that are right next to each other, but in any order. So it could be dip sheep or sheep dip. Far searches words that are more than 25 away from each other. Normally we rarely use that one because that's sort of automatically done, at least in Google. And then before works like and, except the terms must follow the specified order that you have given your search engine. Have you wondered how Google or your other search engines rank your results? The most relevant pages should be listed first. And often this happens because of the number of times that the terms you've used for your search appear in that document or the website that's pulled up in your list. The location of the words is also extremely important and where the results are going to rank. If it's in a title, if it's at the beginning of an article, those are going to rank a little higher than if it was listed further down on that page or article. Also, popularity comes into play. How many people have linked to that website or that article is going to play a factor in where your results appear in the list. Evaluating web pages. You need to look at that address. What does the address tell you? Do you think the website's objective? In fact, you should look at the web address and the website information very carefully. For the web address, if you see a squiggly little line, which is known as a tilde, even if that comes after an edu or other designation, that means it's a personal page. So it may not be an official page of the university or organization. Percentage and members also can signify the same thing. Also, for the web pages, normally edu government will have information that is factual based. Organization is normally nonprofits. Com is normally business, and of course CA is Canada. You should also look for an author, information, and the date on a website. If there is no information present on the site, try and email the author or the group responsible for the page. Look at when the information was last updated. Sometimes undated information is no better than anonymous information. If you're trying to get the latest information on COVID-19, you don't want to be going to a posting from back in May 2020 when we're in January 2021. Look for quality information such as footnotes, links, altered information, as well as well-chosen resources. This is especially for article sections on a website. It is so easy to copy and paste that people can change an article that came from a reputable news source. So if there's links back to the original article, those are a lot more reliable than just somebody copying and pasting the information right on their site. You can find out what others say about the site. In fact, you can look up the author in Google as well as search the website and find out who owns it. Does it make sense? Does it all add up? Some of the questions you should be also asking yourself is, why was the website created? Does it make sense, or is it a parody? There are some websites out there that are designed to mock and make fun of and not designed for factual information. Is it the best source for my project? I did also mention that it could be bias. So not that you can't view that information and possibly use it, but you have to be aware that some people want to change others' way of thinking, the way of viewing the world, and it might not be factual based. In fact, one website in the States looked really good for Martin Luther King information. However, when you looked a little further into who owned the page and who was responsible for the information, you found out that Stormfront was the one that was hosting and creating the information for the page. It had footnotes, it had bibliography, it had historical photos. However, they had their own agenda, and Stormfront is affiliated with the KKK. So would that be the best resource for your project on Martin Luther King? Somehow I think your teacher would say no. If you're unsure of the website, make sure that you ask a teacher or a librarian, and they can help you evaluate what you have found on the internet. Because remember, it's free or cheap to put information out there on the net. So you need to evaluate the information you find and tell the difference between good and bad sources of information. There's fake news. There's been a lot of talk in the media about fake news. So what fake news really refers to is the false information or propaganda published under the guise of being authentic news. There are two kinds of fake news: stories that aren't true and stories that have some truth but aren't 100% accurate, which are often used to convince people to a certain political or ideological point of view. Social media is the main driver for fake news. 10% of the readers of top news come via social media, and 40% of the readers of fake news come via social media. Fake and real news has the same engagement level on social media. Fake news exploits networks and algorithm filtering, and these help spread it. Can we stop it? Yes, we can. By using the same evaluation criteria we just went through for websites and not automatically reposting without fact checking. Some additional tips and things to note include: when questioning a post, you should check the Facebook page history, as profile pictures can come from other websites and be attached to fake profiles. Know that when elections are scheduled, fake news will escalate. Fake news feeds off of polarization and human bias. Belonging often stronger than the facts. Some people get paid to allow their accounts to be used like bots. In fact, there is a profitable business in spreading fake news. In fact, fake accounts can be bought and are not that expensive and often used to distract people from the important issues. We must reinvent how we consume and interact with information and media, or risk losing touch with reality. We have more power now than ever when we are just sharing a post on Facebook. Some sources that can help you verify the truth or falsity of a specific claim include Snopes, which actually began in 1994 examining urban legends, but has expanded to general fact-checking. Media Bias / fact checker site that examines bias in the media from all points of the political spectrum. In fact, it includes a daily source bias check that examines the truthfulness and bias of various news sources. Fake news comes in many forms, and it is a global issue that can encompass misleading information, which often takes true stories and linking them together, making the story incorrect. So on the screen, you'll see 7 types of mis- and disinformation. So we mentioned satire or parody. So that is when there is no intention to cause harm, but it has potential to fool. Misleading content, misleading use of information to frame an issue or individual. Imposter content, this is when genuine sources are impersonated. Fabricated content, new content is 100% false and designed to deceive and do harm. False connection, when headlines, visuals, or captions don't support the content. False content, when genuine content is shared with false contextual information. And then finally, there's manipulated content. And this is when genuine information or imagery is manipulated to deceive. Newswise.ca trains teachers on how to teach democracy and literacy. Media Smarts explores digital and media literacy. There's a couple other resources I just wanted to mention before we wrap up. And one is books.google.com. So the material is supplied by publishers, authors, and universities, mostly books, but some articles are included. So this is sort of separate from the regular Google, and it's going to search various book resources for the terms that you put in. Then there's the dark web, aka the invisible web. It's an invisible web that you cannot see. Your regular Google search is not going to be sufficient. Most of the deep web is actually made up of specialized databases. Use of databases and scholar.google.com will help you find this information. And when I say the use of databases, your schools and local libraries will have subscriptions to various databases that will help you do effective research. And then online, instead of going to Google, you'd be going to scholar.google.com to help you search additional resources on the dark web. When you are doing your projects, remember to cite your sources. Here are just some of the resources that I used to compile this internet searching presentation.